The Red Dirt D&D podcast is brought to you by Pro Laser Cuts. The Oklahoma company provides pre-made and customizable design laser cut dice towers, tokens, and more, developed by a gamer for gamers, and now available to enhance your tabletop game. Pro Laser Cuts products can be found at many Oklahoma City area game stores, local events, and now available online at prolasercuts.com. That's laser and cuts with a Z, Pro Laser Cuts. And by SD Way Gaming, where dice goblins unite. Our friends at SD Way Gaming celebrate the beautiful dice players handpick for their games and splendor. SD Way Gaming has expanded to include many tabletop gaming varieties, accessories, and similar fun necessities to include a service for your dice addiction. You can shop for a variety of products at sdwaygaming.com or find SD Way Gaming on Facebook. Welcome to Red Dirt D&D. I'm Michael Cross, and I play Gideon Block, a paladin of Daga, bringing her justice to the wilds of Ritoya.
I'm Konnor Shenold, and I play Konnor with a K, the Kobold sorcerer who's finally out of the bag.
I'm Johnny Payne, and I play Zonimus Dinar, a roguish warlock controlling his fate with chaos.
I'm Kiri Hester, and I play Poppy Tealeaf, a high-born halfling druid who has forsaken her family for the call of the frontier.
I'm Brooke Bullock, and I play Mokrin Stoneshaper, a young dwarf sorcerer wielding his arcane gifts to delve into the mysteries of the wilderness.
And I'm Ash King, your dungeon master. Join us now for Tales from the Callban Frontier. With the challenge that was the Great Mother River behind you, you have been welcomed into a camp of wild elves, led by a chieftain very familiar to our beloved Paladin Gideon. He has reunited with his long-lost mother. As you all continue to make your plans on how to infiltrate the mesa that Wiley refers to as his hideout, Chief Wildheart, who returned, invites you all to stay. You all are welcome in my camp. You may find rest here. No one will harm you.
I thank you, Mother. It's great to see you again after 40 years. I hope over the past decade or so, I've made you proud.
I've always been proud of you, Gideon, even when you haven't been by my side.
And you've always been in my thoughts. There were some rough times there after I lost Karen and Caleb, but I've always wanted to strive to make myself better, and I always thought of you when I was doing it.
Good.
Right now, I'm really worried about the frontier.
The frontier has always had a way of taking care of itself.
I guess more specifically, the people of the frontier.
So too have they.
Yeah. They have a special place in my heart, especially over the past month or so as we've been back here. We came trying to do one job and found a much more important goal that's leading us in a direction that I hope will preserve what we love here.
That is noble. That was my worry when I left you, that the world would take this bright soul that I had been gifted and would change it. That is one thing that your father and I argued about, the difference between how he lived and what he wanted out of his life versus the truths that I hold dear. The world is wild. The world is untamed. And the moment you start to change that, you lose things. You lose sight of the wonder and the mystery. There have been many coming into the wilds, attempting to force us to fit in ways that we do not. And she kind of glances over at you, Mokrin. And it's not so much she's blaming you specifically, but you definitely get the implication of what's going on.
I feel the weight of her eyes on me, and I take a deep breath and just kind of nod as if I do accept that and understand.
I think when we first came here, Mokrin and I were on one side of that, thinking maybe we could bring some kind of order to the frontier. But it didn't take us long to realize that the order of the frontier is the chaos. Without that, then it's not the place we love. And I think that Mokrin is not like them. back in the east. He's become a dear friend, and we've kind of set a goal of making sure that this place remains like it is, wild and untamed, just as beautiful as you.
Mokran's mapping journal in his backpack is incredibly heavy suddenly. And he kind of clears his throat a little bit and say, yeah, I think being out here changes a person's perspective a little bit, but Chieftain Wildheart, this is a question you don't have to answer and stuff, but it seems like you kind of like left your tight-knit family to go kind of like find, I don't want to say real people, but your real place. That seemed like that had to be an awful difficult decision.
It was. I wanted him to come with me, you know. Both
Right.
you and your father.
He's a little stuck in his ways.
So I learned.
We don't know much about nothing with the Dragonborn back in Venturus. How amenable are they to partnership? Not a dwarven kind of partnership, but a partnership that would help to ensure the freedom of the frontier.
The Dragonborn are difficult. They always have been. Don't get me wrong, Mokran. They're not warlike. They don't impose themselves on the frontier. They keep to themselves, much like the ghost elves. They much prefer to be left alone unless they come to you. We've seen them occasionally to trade, but for the most part, they keep to themselves, and we honor that. We stay away from their sites, we stay away from those places that they guard and hold sacred, and all is well.
If Wiley's band drove them out of the mesa, how likely, and Zonimus, this may be a question on the Wiley side too, but how likely is it that they've got any prisoners? Are the Dragonborn kind that would fight into their last breath, or could they be taken and imprisoned for something?
That I cannot say. I've known that Dragonborn are said to be fierce warriors, but even the fiercest of warrior will turn tail and run should he feel the need to.
Zonimus, would Wiley keep any prisoners?
If he has no further use of them, he would not keep them as a prisoner.
Thought if you did have use for them,
If he
you
did.
would not have any qualms about taking prisoners.
No.
Right. What is the relationship between the Dragonborn and the Kobold?
They are two halves of the same coin. The kobolds we have seen more often. They tend to wander a little farther out from the holy sites, but they are much like their Dragonborn kin, very quiet. They keep their secrets.
But do they partner at all?
Commonly, we have seen them together, yes.
Speaking of, where is Konnor?
He's here. Oh, sorry, right behind you.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Sorry, I kind of zoned out.
Konnor, I think checking out the Dragonborn, looking out for this Screaming Gale might be a good plan after we infiltrate the Mesa. What do you think about that?
Knowing what I know about Screaming Gale, they're not gonna find her. So, like, we could try and find the rest of the Green Dragonborn and the Kobolds, but finding Screaming Gale is a lost cause.
What about this mesa? Do you think there could be a dragon or some type of, Zonimus said something like a temple, a hideout. Do you think it could be another dragon down in there?
Maybe.
Any stories, any legends about who it could be? We've got the list with the Platinum and Nightmare the Black and Dreamweaver the Copper and stuff, but of course Thundercrack, but do you know of any others?
I mean, obviously there's the rest of the 9.
Yeah, I didn't ever learn them names in Venturus.
I'll get you up to speed later.
Okay.
But if the Green Dragonborn are getting run out of their homes, if their dragon was still around, they wouldn't leave.
Oh.
Right. Well, I figure for some reason Screaming Gale is just as either gone or in the same position that Nightmare is in. But I also think Zonimus is right, and I think, Konnor, you're right. Finding this place where the Dragonborn are hid ain't going to be easy. So I think the best option is still the same that we got right now. And maybe lead us on to Screaming Gale if we can find our way there. If not, let them stay hidden. And
The most active tales are the ones of Thundercrack.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so back to the journal.
Back to the
Find
journal.
the clues. See if Thundercrack still lives.
Right, and I think I might have an ability. I think Doggo might be able to help me find this journal once we are, say within 1,000 feet.
Oh, you mean like you could pray and ask her for guidance?
Well, yeah, maybe even find the thing. Regardless, whichever entrance we decide, I think going in secret, the kind of group I've known to walk with for the past month, we could get in there without anybody noticing us.
What I would say, my son, rest for tonight, mull it over. Dawn usually brings clarity.
I agree, Mother. She usually does.
Chieftain, you have shaman and healers amongst you.
I do.
I'm going to reach down and take Iopix's hand. How strong is their medicine?
Depends on the hurt.
Did he squeeze or anything?
Yeah, so he lets you take his hand, and he kind of lightly interlaces his fingers with yours.
So she says, it depends on the hurt. I'm going to just turn and look at him, and let go of his hand, and put my hand on his back, and kind of give a push forward, and look to her and everyone else and say, I'll take my leave and find a place to rest my head, and walk out of the tent.
Iopix just watches you go for a second before looking back to the chieftain, and he says, I have reason to remain with your band for some time. The golden feather was taken from me by this man that your son hunts. Until it is returned to me, my life force is fading. Wildheart gives a nod and says, I will instruct the shamans and the healers, our medicine men, to see how we may assist you. I would do this even if you did not travel with my son. And if your fate is just to pass into the twilight, then we will ensure it is a comfortable passing. And Iopix just kind of gives a nod as well, and gently fades back and exits the tent.
If your people could find us a place to sleep, we would most appreciate it, Mother.
She gives you a nod and gets up to lead you all out of the tent. And she does bring you all to some other tents where she motions for you to enter and says, you may use these for tonight, and you are free to trade with my people as you need. See me before you leave.
I will, Mother. Can I? Now, Chieftain, I want to give her a hug.
So you kind of give her like that lost child look, and she will lean over and pull you tight, and just running her fingers through the back of your hair.
I'm figuring she's like 5'8", 5.
Oh no, she's your height, man.
She's tall.
Oh, she's tall. I didn't
tall.
know she was that tall. Okay. I
You
just hug her
got
in.
the height from her.
Yeah. And that's kind of short.
Like your hair and your eyes you got from your dad. Because she's very dark hair, dark eyes, skin dark from long days riding in the sun.
Yeah.
She does pull you close.
And I just hold her for a bit. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you.
I thank you for giving us rest. So we just pull back, and we will make sure to see you before we head out in the morning.
She gives you a nod and says, food and drink will be brought.
Thank you again.
It looks like she's a little reluctant to leave.
I can leave them alone. You and I can go walking.
She does give a nod.
Okay.
It seems that just like she would like that, but it's that whole.
I got a lot of stuff to tell you.
Yeah, it's like she'll let you set the boundary.
No, I got so much to tell you, and I have not been able to unburden myself to anybody, really. If you're up for it, I would love nothing more than to be able to talk with you about my life and what I've been doing for the past 40 years.
I would like that.
So I'll join her wherever she's going.
Adorable.
She kind of takes you on this meandering path through the camp. The other elves do kind of give the pair of you your privacy, and she shows you around. It's almost sometimes you feel like the justification for why she left, talking to you about the struggles of the band, and the whole reason that I initially left was I had heard word that my mother had passed, leaving this band leaderless. And as I was her eldest daughter, it was my duty to return.
And just because Samuel said he wouldn't let me go, you felt like you couldn't take me with you.
He said that he had wanted to keep you close. He said some other hurtful things about the fragility of humanity and of half-elves. I knew I would outlive you. I made my peace with that long ago.
Well, I also knew that I would outlive my wife, Karen. Didn't mean I didn't love her and wouldn't stick to her and our boy. And he said some hurtful things that made me think that you didn't want me. So that's why I never chased after you. That's why I always looked more east to Venturas. Which, had I not gone that way, I wouldn't have met Karen. I wouldn't have had that life. Wouldn't have had the tragedy, but do you forsake love, even though it's going to lead to loss?
The wise say that there can be no love without loss.
Right.
Eventually, the sun sets for us all. We can only hope that when we wander into the west and into the twilight, that we will be led upon safe paths to the place of rest, where we will be reunited with all those that we have loved and lost.
Even the long-lived of the elves and the half-elves and even the dwarves. We have to say goodbye to this life at some time and rest in the arms of dusk. I think even Eopix is going to go through that right now. I'm happy that he's going to have a place that might lead him into that twilight amongst friends, family. I'm glad you all are here to take care of him.
We will take him with us as we continue our journeys. I can say we will probably be remaining in this camp for another week at least. But with what's going on at the Mesa, it's time for us to move on.
How does one find your location if they've moved away? Or do you just find them?
She thinks about it for a moment. I will ensure that you have something so that you can find me again. It will be brought to you tomorrow.
Excellent.
And then that way, should you ever need me, you will find me.
Now that I've found you again, I'm loath to leave. But I have work to do.
You have a duty, Gideon.
Yes.
The same as I. And though we shall part, you have always been in my heart, and I will always be in yours.
After Karen died, I felt like I kind of had a little bit of a death wish. Didn't really care whether I lived or died. I thought I'd found a little bit of that spark of life again when I met up with Daga, and I took on the oath of the Silver Star. But now that I've found you again, all I can do is cling to life, and I thank you for that.
You have impressed me, Gideon. You have soared higher than even my highest dreams for you. You will go, you will complete your mission, and then we shall see. Perhaps it is your fate to wander with us, or perhaps there will be another path for you. But even if our paths never cross again, know that I am proud of you.
And you see Gideon smile, and I just am silent. There's nothing more I can say.
That's the thing about elves, is that they tend to speak in silence. It comes from living for so long that they learn one another's little idiosyncrasies. And even though the two of you have been apart for nigh on 40 years, it feels like you're that little boy again, walking beside his mother as you go to tend to the horses.
Yeah, and as I think we're walking, I just reach out my hand and take hers and just enjoy just walking again with my mother, with her people, because she used to bring me to these places before, and so it's just like I remember.
She will grip your hand tightly as the two of you continue your walk about the camp.
Greetings and salutations, my friends. I'm Michael Cross. So great to have a moment to talk with you during this mid-show break. First off, I want to invite you all to join us as Patreon members. The money we raise helps us pay for things like the music and sound effects you hear on the show, as well as money to go to events and make new fans. When you become a Patreon member, you get our episodes 4 days early, bonus content, access to our Discord server, and full versions of our roundtable discussions. You'll be joining other fans like Scott Wise, Don Mills, Heath Mormon, and the Lady Kate. So join us right now at patreon.com/reddirtdnd. Another way to support us is by getting your very own Red Dirt merchandise. You can find things like hats, hoodies, mugs, and t-shirts. Just click on the merch tab at reddirtdnd.com or reddirtrpg.com. Since 2020, the Red Dirt D&D podcast has been close to another Oklahoma actual play Dungeons & Dragons podcast, D20 to Curtain. And me personally, I've had a chance to work on stage with some of the actors on the show. So when you get done with this episode, you should check them out.
Hello, fellow D&Ders. My name is Jerome.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Jody.
And together with our friends Kara, Timothy, and Jared, we are the cast of the D20 to Curtain podcast, where Oklahoma theater geeks and their friends hit record and explore our new addiction to Dungeons & Dragons.
We think D&D is more than just a game. It helps us tap into the enduring power of storytelling.
We combine live gameplay with behind-the-curtain episodes to share our experiences, insights, habits, discoveries, and passion for D&D with anyone who will listen.
We hope D20 to Curtain will make you laugh, cry, maybe even make your experience at your table even more satisfying. Check us out anywhere you listen to podcasts or visit us at d20tocurtain.com or at D20 to Curtain on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
We look forward to having you. All we ask is that you have fun, be kind, and play the role.
If you're looking for more content, make sure to check out our YouTube page with Mysteries of Beatrix live every Wednesday. Keys from the Golden Vault from the Red Dirt Outlaws dropping every Tuesday at noon, and Plausible Deniability every other Thursday at 7 p.m. So come check it out at youtube.com/@RedDirtRPG or search for Red Dirt RPG on YouTube. And we would love to hear from you. Find us on social media at Red Dirt RPG. You can also get in touch with us through our website at reddirtrpg.com. In the meantime, make sure and subscribe to this podcast and leave a comment on your favorite podcatcher so others can find us. All right, I think that's everything I need to tell you. Right now, let's head back to Red Dirt D&D.
So, back at the tent. What are you all doing?
Okay, and so the last dragon's name is Thundercrack. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's all the dragons you need to know about.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know, the auroch in the room is the fact that you might notice Gideon doesn't drink much of all or anything, like as far as alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes humans, they don't know how to handle that chemical content and they use it to forget really difficult things and then it starts causing problems.
Oh.
And I think all that stuff going on outside, I think that's why he had a problem earlier in his life.
How do we circle from dragons to Gideon?
Well, you know, I'm just thinking that it was in the back of my head the whole time you were rambling on about, I mean, the whole time you were talking about
So you weren't listening.
I was totally listening.
Okay.
I got a question. Does this mean that Gideon is a prince?
Yes. Well, son of a chieftain. I don't think that they recognize it. It's not the same thing, but very similar, I would imagine.
So not necessarily, so chiefdainness is not
I mean, he's definitely important, but it's not the same as royalty.
I'm not gonna bow to him. So
he would
I'm just gonna take that out of the get that out of there.
He would never expect that.
Has anyone seen Autonomous, by the way? He went off.
I think he needed some time with Iopics. I wink.
I'm beginning to think he's actually pretty soft because you see how tender he was with Iopics and offered up to the...
Zonimus has such a soft side.
Really?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I forget that you haven't had the same conversations with him that I have.
Well, no.
He's, just like you. You're also very soft.
He's a hard. Okay, so you know how geodes are hard outside, and yes, there's a harder inside, but it's a pretty inside.
Right.
That's
Zonimus is pretty inside.
When we crack him open, there's gonna be beauty.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go talk to. Do you guys want to? I guess you could come with me. I'm gonna go find some young people.
Okay.
Oh, you remember when we were in the last stop?
Oh yeah.
Kids are hilarious. I think we should go.
Okay, I am specifically
Find some Bobby elves.
I'm specifically in search for the elf equivalent of a 13-year-old boy. Obviously, they wouldn't actually be. I don't know. They might be. Anyway, I'm going to. Do I find some? Do you want me to roll something?
Roll perception for young
youngsters playing in the street.
Well, of course, and that's the funny thing, technically with the elves, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah. I know. I only got a 10.
So you find some youngsters, but you're not sure of the gender.
That's fine. Girls are cool too.
It's getting close to twilight, so... But, they're elves. They can see in the dark.
Yeah.
And these particular elves are kind of at the age where they're not youngsters anymore, so they're not forced to go to bed or meditate or whatever it is they have to do. They're kind of allowed to, set their own schedules because, they're learning. They're learning how to adult.
So I'm going to pick up some rocks and approach the elves, and I'm going to cast magic stone on my 3 rocks. I'm telling you, this is gonna work out.
Are we starting to fight with the elves?
No, we're not.
I'm not sure I'm up.
You don't just throw rocks. Sometimes they're just pretty, and
Walker
the
and
rocks
I are
glow
just,
a
like,
little bit
hanging
with some
back.
like magic. And hi, I was wondering, I need to learn how to slingshot in the next 4 hours. Can you teach me how to do that?
They all kind of look at one another and think about it.
Who's gonna know how to use a slingshot? A 13-year-old boy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they push forward one of them, and actually it's a young female. She pulls out, you see a pretty decent like elven slingshot that she's just like, is simple.
I've just
Hey,
never
go set up the skulls.
I've never done it before, and so I need to know how to do it. I feel like it's gonna be helpful.
You see her younger sister goes and grabs like just this basket, runs out, a couple yards, and sets up.
Is that a basket of skulls?
Yeah, it looks like.
Okay.
There's like a rabbit skull and like a wolf skull, an auroch. Different levels of target, different lengths away. Mm-hmm. This young female elf, she, holds up her slingshot and she grabs a sling stone out of her pouch, slots it in, pulls it back, and let's go. And you hear that. And even in this like low light conditions, she does hit dead on.
Yeah.
And it's just a quick, and all 3 of these skulls.
See, I knew I found the right group of elves here. That's quite impressive. Now, I don't have a slingshot.
Can get a crow from, 50 yards away.
That's just amazing.
You came to learn about slingshots without a slingshot?
Listen, I don't have one. I was hoping that maybe I could figure out how to make one, or I don't really have that many things, but if you have like a spare one, I don't obviously want your nice one. You can give me like your bad one, and I can give you something, but I don't have a lot of stuff that you trade.
What trade for?
I don't have a lot of stuff.
Poppy, you've been pretty cool to hang out with, and Konnor reaches into his bag and pulls out that bone carving statue that I found on the downed airship. Wow. And I'll trade that for a slingshot if you'll take it.
The elf takes it from you, looks over, pockets it, and then skitters off, and then comes back with pretty decent, obviously made by, a youngster, but it has some very rudimentary, like, elven carvings on it.
Amazing.
The main body of it seems to be made out of some sort of bone, and then the rubbery bit probably made out of, like, auroch sinew or something. So.
Amazing. This is quite nice. I do appreciate this. Konnor, I owe you 5 flies.
Flies?
Yeah, where we fly.
Oh, okay.
And so then we don't necessarily have to roleplay this out, but I'm just going to spend some time practicing, figuring it out, getting some tips.
The youngsters, like, seeing that you're trying to learn, like, adjust your elbow, kind of give you some tips. It's kind of that broken, like, they don't exactly speak common, but they speak enough of it so that way you can kind of communicate. And definitely it's a lot more. You notice that the elves, especially these youngsters, are very tactile. So there's not necessarily a lot of spoken communication, but like they'll come over to you, like gently kind of like grab your shoulders, adjust. Sometimes they'll like give you a pat that's like, okay, yeah, that's how you do it.
Yep, that's what I do. That's my evening. You guys don't have to hang out with me while I learn how to slingshot things.
All right. They'll say, Makran, Konnor, y'all doing anything interesting? It's a whole elven camp.
I'm good.
Konnor will sit and stay around with Poppy, watching her learn how to
I do also want to practice doing it from wildfire, too, like wild moving. And that's going to be something I'm going to have to work on.
And the first time she does a bullseye or like just a really good shot, Konnor like prestidigitates like little tiny little like sparks in like celebration.
Yay!
And when we're all finished, although it's probably cityfied and then has a dwarven accent on top of it, Makran thanks them in Elvish for their help. Forsooth, thou hast been of great benefit, unbeknownst to thyself and thy friends.
And well, wait until everybody goes to bed.
What?
When you go to wherever it is they say, here's where you can bed down for the night.
That was our tent that they left us in earlier.
As you're getting into the bed part that you would be sleeping in that room, Zonimus kind of rolls over from a shadow right there and just looks up and says, very quietly, so hopefully only you hear, and says, I don't know how to handle loss. Separation, yeah. Abandoning, yeah. Not loss. I don't know how Gideon has kept it together. I don't know if I could come out of it like he had.
Well, it took him like 20 years in the bottle to come out of it, so I don't think he deals with it quite very well either. And if I'm being honest, I haven't really dealt with the loss. I lost my entire family, but it was like a choice, so it's not quite the same. So unfortunately, I can only speak from a place of sympathy, not empathy. But I am sorry that you're dealing with it. Are you specifically talking about the impending doom of Ialpix? Or are you talking about the loss of the person within yourself that was a part of Wiley's life?
When you finish that sentence, Zonimus just rolls over, facing you, almost snuzzled right up against you, leg bend so that like your knee's touching his knee, and closes his eyes and breathes.
So you think Gideon's got a sister?
Mm-hmm.
I thought so too. I thought about asking the youths, but then I thought they might think that was rude, so I did not.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gideon's mom, fortunately, great person. We thought she might not be, but she's great. My mom, I think she's more of a bystander than, I don't think she's actively evil, but I also didn't think that my father was running the tea mafia, so I could be completely wrong about that. And Makrin's mom, we know, was really rude. She thinks you're fake snoring, so she's gonna continue. Makrin's mom, we know, is very nice. She gave him the family hammer. I'm not sure if kobolds have moms.
We do.
I don't know.
Voice from the darkness.
I don't know if it's like an egg thing.
Yeah, it's an egg thing, but we still have moms.
Listen,
Poppy, go to sleep.
I'm just saying, I've never seen a reptile care for their baby. Anyway, but I say all that to say this. What was your mom like? And she gives you a little kick in the knee if you're trying to be asleep, pretending to be asleep.
And he says, I miss her, and rolls over.
I'm sure she was very nice if she made somebody as special as you, and gives you a little pat on the back of your knee because you rolled over. And then her and Wildfire will go to sleep.
So, you all bed down for the night. Some with thoughts of the past, some with thoughts to the future. Either way, tomorrow is a new day, and we shall see what that mesa holds.
Red Dirt D&D Tales from the Caliban Frontier is Ash King as our Dungeon Master, Brooke Bullock as Makrin Stoneshaper, Johnny Payne as Zonimus Dinar, Kiri Hester as Poppy Tealeaf, and I'm Michael Cross as Gideon Block. Our theme music was created by the cinemagician P.J. Castillo. Our incidental music comes from Jeffrey McBride. Our sound effects and additional music courtesy of Monument Studios, Andrew Sitkov, and TabletopAudio.com. We here at Red Dirt D&D could really use your help in getting the word out about us. If you like what you've heard, make sure to rate us and leave a comment. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and RedDirtDnd.com. Tell your friends about Red Dirt D&D and share us on social media. And we have new content on our YouTube and Twitch pages. Just search for Red Dirt D&D. You can also support the show at patreon.com/RedDirtDnd. We have several giving levels, including early listening to shows and access to our Discord server. Join us next time as we go deeper into the Caliban Frontier.
I think Konnor knows how alcoholism works, unfortunately. He may not know the machinations of CEOs and CFOs, but
I sure know alcohol.
It's not the same thing, but very similar, I would imagine.
She told me Pocahontas doesn't count.
Well, I'm telling you that Pocahontas wouldn't have referred to herself as a princess.
Okay, we're back on track.
I'm specifically in search for the elf equivalent of like a 13-year-old boy.
That just sounds
Okay.
wrong.
Yes, and thank you for not saying, I want to look for some young boys.
And
Walker
the
and
rocks
I are
glow
just,
a
like,
little bit
hanging
with some
back.
like magic and hello.
Hello, fellow youth.
I am also a youth.
I'm
Hi-oh.
hip with the youngsters.
To be made out of some sort of bone, and then the shoddy bit, the stretchy.
I owe you 5 flies.
Flies?
Yeah, where we fly.
Oh, okay.
I fly.
That's
you
where I
fly.
went too. I thought, like, what? He eats flies now?
No. Flights.
Okay.
Flight.
I'm
Okay.
not a lizard. I don't do the tongue thing.
That's how you do it.
They give me a nice golf clap. That's all I needed. Just some prepubescent elves. Listen, I just felt like they would be
They're
the ones.
actually, like 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
They are. Exactly. Yeah, they're older than I am.
Oh, yeah. I'm only 20. I am quite young.
You hear like a couple of them just like babby.
Yeah, because I'm so small. I'm teeny weeny.
It's a whole elven camp.
Getting all kinds of mischief.
Yeah, that's true.
But don't offend people because the chief is Gideon's mom. That's not nice.
That
you don't
means
go to
we
your
have a free reign.
No, you don't.
Diplomatic immunity.
You don't go to your friend's house and trash the place. It's not. Celebration fireworks.
Celebration fireworks.
Maybe you're a firework.
Makrin thanks them in Elvish for their help. Forsooth, thou hast been of great benefit, unbeknownst to thyself and thy friends.
They'll understand you better if you say it really, really loud.
And really slow.
It's that, like that terrible kind of backwoods accent that you can barely understand. Like, it's like, are you even speaking English?
It's the Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
Or the
Creole
that guy
movie,
from Waterboy.
Oh, yeah.
Makrin is very proud of himself.
Ain't no-
I'm like, oh, thank you very much.
Ain't no thing, just a couple skulls, a couple rocks, you just pew pew pew.
Dangle.
And closes his eyes and breathes.
I have some mint you can chew if you need. I love you, but your breath kind of smells.
That's so mean, Poppy.
Because Poppy's like 2 inches tall. And Zonimus is
I'm too.
orc and elf. Zonimus just kind of pushes himself like up so that he's like 3 heads above the length of Poppy and just breathes freely.
Listen,
Snuggle, nuzzle. Her between a dog and a stinky breath elf orc.
we all lost the opportunity to take a bath in that river. Some hydras occupying it.
We're up.
Yay!
We didn't end on a cliffhanger.
Or
a battle.
I say, unfortunately, the last time we ended with like a nice, almost wholesome, everybody sleeping securely moment. It was the McKee Ranch.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while.
Where nobody had to keep watch.